I mean, we certainly want to make sure the information that is being put out is correct. We can have up-to-date statistical information for the town on a website. And I know the finance committee's asked for more information. I know residents have asked for more information. I think it's a great platform to use to get there. Another piece that's come forward with the new governor's office is a program called Community Compact. And the Community Compact somewhat ties in to this accounting program that called ClearGov. They tie in together somewhat because the Community Compact is a program by the governor that we would sign up as a town. And it doesn't cost the town anything for that. It's a program where we would have a list of up to 3 items in the town that we see need improvement. And they have, you can do 1, 2, or 3 items. The governor's office has a list of about 25 items, 30 items that you can choose from. It has to do with education, has to do with technology, has to do with finances, has to do with infrastructure. Several of these things we were already started tackling. We can already start checking off some of these things off their list. I think it might be very advantageous for the town to become a community compact town. One thing it does do is it gives the town the ability to apply for grants at the state level that we wouldn't normally be able to apply for. And some of the other grants that we can apply for, it'll put us a step higher on their pecking order. Because as you know, we applied for a park grant last year, and there were 37 towns that applied for it, and we were number 37. Because all the other towns have more boxes to check off than us for the criteria. So that's something I think we should all look at, and we'll be talking more about that later, but I just want to put that on everybody's radar, that those are things that I've been talking to the governor's office about, and we should move forward. Now, as far as tonight goes, I'd like to let our town administrator kind of give us an overview of what we are expecting from the next budget review, and also from the board members that are here tonight. So Jim?
I think you covered everything. Excellent.
Yeah, all right, you're welcome.
I'm going to not touch on FY16. I think you're not touching on FY16 at this point. Revenues are right about on target. I went through the budget today. A couple things that we need to keep an eye on for FY16 expenditures. I'm going to move right on to FY17, which is why we're all here. As you know, there are 3 major components of our revenue for FY17 or any budget. The first is our property taxes. The Prop 2.5 increase would bring in about $955,000. As Phil said, new growth for 17 we are estimating will be down sharply. Fiscal 15 new growth was $2.5 million. For fiscal 16 it was $1.1 million. And for fiscal 17 at this point we are estimating about $500,000. As you know, Market Street is getting built out. There is no major construction going on there. So most of our new growth at this point for 17 we are estimating will be coming from the residential side of the ledger and will not be coming out of Market Street. So that's about $1.4, $1.5 million in additional revenue from taxes. Local receipts is the next component. We are not estimating an increase in local receipts at this point. We are keeping our local receipt estimates at the FY16 levels. It's about $300,000 less than FY15 actuals, but we did have about $300,000 in one-time revenues from bond premiums that came in. Those will not be recurring in FY16 or 17, so we are not counting those. State aid numbers at this point are also being level funded for the estimate for FY17. Currently, the state is estimating a $145 million shortfall in non-tax revenues and is tracking $250 million in spending issues that they believe will be over their FY16 marks. Obviously, that's almost $400 million in FY16 that the state's having a problem with. Those numbers will continue into FY17 and will have to be accounted for in the state budget. The governor's budget is due out January 27th, so we'll get our first look at what he is proposing for FY17 revenues. Right now, we're projecting about $1.5 million in additional revenue for FY17 over FY16. Just to put things in perspective, We're getting a 6.2% increase in our pension costs. That's about $140,000. At this point, I am estimating a 5% increase in health insurance, which is another $250,000. As we discussed last year with the board, we will be appropriating funds for OPEB, and the current budget, and will not be free cash, will be out of operating funds. Right now, I'm estimating that at about the $200,000 that we do. So there's $600,000 in spending right off the top that's going to come out of that $1.5 million. It's not all doom and gloom. Fiscal 17 is not a bad year, but you will notice in your letter, I am not looking for departments to be looking to expand significantly for fiscal 17, because our ability to sustain those increases will be in question for fiscal 18, fiscal 19 in the future, as our new growth number continues to bottom down with Market Street finishing up. So we're going to be very conservative, I think, in our revenue projections. It will be my recommendation to the board to be very conservative in our spending projections for fiscal 17. Because you see those numbers of revenue and growth slowing considerably 17, 18, and into the future. So that's kind of my 30,000 square foot, 30,000 foot look at where we are for fiscal 17.
Thanks, Jim. As we've done in the past, we typically go around the room. If everybody has the same agenda I have, we kind of have it in an order there, so I think we'll just follow the order of the agenda. And Jane and the schools, you get to kick it off. You're the biggest item on the budget every year, and I think it's only right that you start off the budget numbers. So Jane, welcome guys. And Jane, and go ahead and tell us what you have in mind.
Thank you. I'd be happy to. I have Tom Geary here with me. He's our finance director, and Jamie Hayman is a member of our school committee. So in terms of our budget for 2016, we are right on track for this year's budget. We have had a couple of bumps in the road this year in terms of unexpected outplacements, tuitions, and some transportation costs that have been attached to that as well. We are able to deal with that within the budget that we have. We are able to cover it. One of the things that is helping us do that is that our hiring practices for the 2016-17 school year, they were such that we have experienced a little bit of a savings, and that is really helping us to offset some of the tuition and transportation challenges that we're facing. Looking ahead to FY17, we are currently in the process of negotiating a new teacher's contract with the union. So obviously salary is the largest part of our budget. And once we have a better understanding of those numbers, then we'll be able to finalize our overall budget. In terms of the budget, in January, hopefully I will be giving a formal presentation of my budget recommendations to the school committee. All of our focus areas in the budget this year will be directly linked to our new district strategy that the school committee voted on in September. We have 5 strategic objectives that we really like to put everything around, and all of our conversations, everything that we're talking about in terms of budget, fall under one of these categories. We are talking about building leadership capacity, talking about educated growth, curriculum instruction, which is probably one of the most important things that we talk about. It's about the rigor of our curriculum, making sure that we're doing everything we need to do from a framework standpoint and Common Core, which links into assessment and accountability, and of course meeting the needs of all students, making sure that we have the resources and we have the people in line to teach the students that we have sitting in front of us. As always, our ultimate goal is really about continuous growth and really building a culture of excellence in teaching and learning, and really creating intellectually curious learners for all of our students from preschool all the way through to grade 12. In terms of technology, we will continue with the technology initiatives that we put into place a few years back now. And the one area that we're looking at that we know will need some additional attention moving forward is special education. The population that is requiring the most programmatic changes for next year's school year is our youngest learners. And due to some of the changes that we are going to have to put in place to meet their needs, we are looking at a little bit more intense level of staffing and programming for this population. So that's where we stand, and that's what we're looking at.
Great, thank you, Jane. Appreciate it. We have listed here our boards and commissions. The first board and commission I see down there is our planning board. And Alan, you want to chime in and see, let us know where you're at?
Expense-wise, we're in pretty good shape, although John will probably go over one additional thing we're looking at very seriously, coming event. John?
That was quick. We've been level funded now, I would say, at least for the past decade, at $3,820 a year. This year, we probably are going to have to come in and ask for a greater amount of money. One of the things that happened when I first became chair and ultimately co-chair with Alan is I had a discussion with Bill Gustus. And the very first thing that Bill Gustus said to me is, please fix the zoning bylaws. I was speaking with Tom Mullen today about the zoning bylaws, and I think he used the word despicable. And he's the guy who has to go to court and try to defend them if anything goes wrong. I'm an attorney. I have reviewed the zoning bylaws. They're worse than despicable. If you like your house and you like your frontage and you like your neighborhood, you wouldn't like our zoning bylaw. Someday, I think some attorneys are going to come into town and drive a bus right through them. The cost to the town, if that were to happen, would far exceed anything we would be looking for in order to get them revamped. The objective is not to change the zoning in the town. The objective is to protect the zoning in the town. We don't want to change anybody's zoning. We want every residential zone to remain a residential zone. We want every business zone to remain a business zone. What we want to do is basically protect you from the onslaught that could occur. In looking at it and going out and trying to figure out how much this would cost, I did speak extensively with Tom Mullen, tried to talk him into doing it at the cost of his hourly rate that the town pays him. He wouldn't bite. It's that much of a challenge to try to do it. Going out and going to other good authoritative sources who could do the job, do it well, and cooperate with us on the board, we're getting quotes of between $35,000 and $45,000. Right now, local towns are doing it. The town of Hamilton is doing it this minute. They have a total cost of $45,000. In discussing it with the different people that I have discussed it with, I believe we can do it for $35,000. I think that's a reasonable sum in order to have it done correctly, and have the town well protected for the future. We would also need a little bit more money than that to make sure that it is published properly and it's all typed up, bound, and we have hard copies where the hard copies are necessary. That's it for zoning. We are also undertaking another major project within the next year. We are looking at redoing the town's master plan. Now, the last time the master plan was done for the town was in the year 2002. In 2002, the town appropriated, I believe it was $62,000 to have the master plan done by outside consultants. In looking at that, if you've ever read the master plan, you can tell it was done by outside consultants because they missed the mark by a mile. It just does not address what this town needed, wanted, or ultimately became. We believe that we can do it on our own, but we will need the cooperation of everyone here in this room. We will be holding meetings in the near future with all the department heads, all the boards, all the committees, the Board of Selectmen, to get a true and correct vision for what the town is and what the people want it to be. And I think we can do this on our own. I think we can draft it on our own. I think we can publish it on our own. And I think it will reflect what is really the will of the townspeople and what the will of the townspeople for the future is meant to be. The cost of that, I project to be zero. So instead of $62,000 paying outside consultants, I believe that we should undertake it as a board ourselves, conduct meetings, hearings, discussions with everyone here, and see that the town has a meaningful master plan that addresses the issues that should be addressed and comes up with potential solutions that should be met. So overall, basically, we are staying level funded with the exception of that one request that we will be making.
Well, I can assure you that we could approve the appropriation for the master plan right now. That's here.
That's very generous of you.
Other boards and commissions, I know the historical commission's on here, and then we had listed several others here. Is there any other commission or board that would like to speak that isn't already listed? Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to hear from Chief Green from the police.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are doing very well with our budget for this current fiscal year, with the exception of dispatcher overtime. We just had a dispatcher retire after many years of service, and we promoted a part-time dispatcher to a full-time position. We're currently looking for a part-time dispatcher, so we have some overtime costs associated with that. For FY17, Fire Chief Mark Tatro and I have learned that we need to move the location of our repeater from on the South Water District water tower. We're currently trying to determine what the cost will be for that, but I anticipate the cost to be in the tens of thousands rather than thousands. We don't know quite. We've had companies up there, we had site visits. We just need to move that from its current location on one side of the tower over to another side, and while we're moving it, we need to upgrade it as well. So when we get those figures, we'll certainly pass that on and try to figure a way to fund that appropriately. We currently have big expenditures in my capital will be the cruisers, which is typical. We currently have a cruiser with 160,000 miles on it, and that vehicle is well beyond its serviceable time frame. We also have a supervisor's car, which is 120,000 miles on it, and it's starting to burn through the oil. So we're going to need to look into replacing some of the cruisers. We're looking to do that right now, but currently they're in between the 15s and the 16s, so there's really nothing available. So we're waiting for the new cruisers to come out so we're going to buy off the bid and outfit those cruisers, which typically takes between 6 to 10 weeks. We have some officers, newer officers now, that are also interested in the TASER. We have several officers now, 5 or 6 that have the TASER. We have some more that are interested, so I'll be looking to purchase a couple more of those. And we have a key scan system, which we need to, I'd like to upgrade. I put that in the budget last year, but that was one of the ones that got cut. This will allow us to record video, which I think is pretty important these days. If anything were to happen in the station now, currently we can look on the monitor and we can see things, but we can't record it. So we have nothing to use in the case of something were to happen in the station. We have nothing to memorialize that on video with the current system we have. Beyond that, a couple of in-house computers, one Panasonic Toughbook for the new cruiser that's coming in. We also have a detective now, and he's going to need an unmarked car. So we're looking to make those purchases, or as many of those as we possibly can, in the next fiscal year. That's it.
Thanks, Chief. We'll go to the fire chief, Mr. Tatro.
Well, good evening. As many of you may have seen at the Selectmen's meeting the other night, one of our top priorities is staffing for this year, and hoping to move to right now we cover the fire stations 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and we're looking to move to a 7-day-a-week, 12-hour coverage. Our call volume has been ever increasing year after year. This year we've had our busiest year ever with a 14% increase in call volume. So it's time. Our other priority is to replace one of our 30-year-old engine pumper trucks. We have 2 30-year-old pumper trucks, so we're look to replace one of those. Beyond that, it's just the typical stuff in the capital budget that we ask for every year. Turnout gear, hose, and so forth. So, like I said, the 2 biggest priorities are staffing and the pumper.
Great. Andrew, DPW.
Good evening. I'll kind of go down by category and So I'll start with the roads. Obviously, we did quite a bit of road work this year. Wing Road, Strout, Bork, Marabou, sections of Main, Lovell, Loxley, Lowell. We're doing Perry, Windsor, and Ford Ave also, which will be finalized in the spring or the summer of 2016. The majority of that road construction budget has been spent. Approximately 800,000 has been spent to date, and there's still another 200 and change committed for the remainder of that work in the spring. We'll be continuing with the expectation, or at least developing our plan with the expectation that it'll be funded again next year. In addition to that, we'll be looking to possibly review and update our road inventory and come up with a better or a more recent inventory of roads. We're also looking at some drainage issues. There's 2 significant culvert issues we're concerned with that will need more than just in-house repair. Both Midland and Fletcher Roads have some culvert work that requires some engineering work to review and come up with a scope of work and a tentative replacement plan. On the fleet side, we received a grant over the course of the year to purchase some fleet maintenance software. We're in the process of working on getting that installed with the IT department on one of the servers, and that'll give us a better ability to kind of track some of our fleet repair. We are looking at some additional costs on our repairs as some of the equipment is getting older. And we're also looking at the possibility of replacing one of the older dump trucks that we have. It's currently a 2000. It's the oldest one in the fleet. We're having a harder time getting parts for it. It's a Sterling. It's kind of off market now. So on the cemetery side, we maintain obviously Forest Hill and Willow. We performed 36 burials at Forest Hill and 7 at Willow. We're looking to improve the record keeping system we currently have, which is an old paper system. Doesn't give us good visibility on what we have for available plots and graves, and we're concerned about the future growth and the potential for additional needed space. The additional, or the ability to have some sort of software or some sort of record keeping system that will allow us to kind of track that better is kind of what we're looking at. In addition to, in case anything ever happened to any of the paper records, we would have a backup. On the park side, there's not a whole lot there until we work through the maintenance agreement with the Recs Commission to determine what level of needs are going to come out of that. So we look forward to working through that and seeing what that entails. School buses, the town currently owns 6, in addition to the 11 that are contracted through North Suburban. Of the 6, one of them is deadlined. I don't believe we're going to put it back on the road because of the cost associated with it. As of right now, we're running 5. We're running 3 on a daily basis, and 2 are essentially backups. So we're okay on that sense, and those should be good for another year or 2 at least. The school bus budget is currently on track, so we don't see any issue with that, and that school bus contract is being rebid for 2016, so we'll see how that comes out. Snow and ice, we currently have some maintenance of the spreaders and snow blowers that we're going through. We own 13 snow blowers that are used for buildings throughout the town. Some of them are pushing just over 10 years old, so we're looking at trying to swap 1 or 2 of them a year and kind of get caught up on swapping those out. In addition to that, the spreader controls for our salt spreaders, we're looking at improving those at the cost of salt, which currently we're paying $44 a ton. It's an expensive product. To put down more than we need is not a great option. The newer style controls take the driver out of the equation, and it's set and forget it, so to speak, so you don't end up with the issues of overuse of material. So we'll be kind of looking at, implementing those systems, a couple, maybe 1 or 2 a year to get caught up, and then, and hopefully improve our usage of that material. On the utility side, gas and diesel, we're actually doing rather well this time of year. We're paying $1.79 for gas. This time last year, we paid $2.67. We're paying $1.85 for diesel, and last year, we were paying about $2.76. Usage is currently consistent with the last three years, so we don't see any significant changes there. In addition to that, we re-signed the natural gas agreement with an additional savings of almost 50 cents a unit, and that's a 3-year agreement also. On the electric side, we have started replacing some of the heads in town on both the parking lots and the street lanterns with LED styles as they've gone out. It saves on, obviously, the electricity cost, but it also saves us on the cost of ballast and maintenance repairs, particularly in the parking lots. One of the capital projects we'll probably be looking at is the possibility of funding the replacement of the parking lot lights at both the middle school and or the high school, because those are probably the two biggest ones we have issues with. We have been replacing the lantern style lights throughout the town. We've installed 18 of them on both Trog Holly, Windsor, and 3 at the town hall to see how those have worked. And they're at almost the same cost as a regular replacement head anyway, so we'll be working on those. As they go down, we'll replace them with the newer style heads. The waste disposal contract with JRM is in the process of being finalized between them. It's a 5-year agreement that would run from July of this year for the next 5 years, with a 2% annual increase throughout those years. Currently, we're at $372,000 annually. Covanta, who is our waste collection facility, they are currently at $70 a ton. That agreement is up in this summer, and we'll be working with them to renew that agreement and go forward. Currently, we're at $367,000 a year with that contract, and we dispose of approximately 5,100 tons of waste. The compost facility, we removed approximately 3,300 cubic yards of waste at a cost of about $11,000, and about $5,000 to remove the total brush collection. We've collected a total of 982 stickers, and we'll be looking at upgrading that policy as the discussion with the board was on Monday to what it would take to include commercial vehicles. On the facility side, we've reviewed the septic system for the library facility. The engineer is finishing the design and scope of work, and then we'll have a tentative cost for repair or replacement of that septic system, and that'll probably be submitted as a capital project this year. South Fire Station, we've completed both ramps on both sides of the building. The roof project will be worked on this year during the course of the winter. Hopefully we'll get that out to bid and look at getting that done in the beginning of next year. Coming up for capital for that facility, we'll be looking at the overhead door replacement. They're older doors, older style doors, and the interior lighting in the facility also. Both South Fire and the main station both have compressors that failed in the insurance inspections. They're significant compressors, probably run about $6 or $7 grand a piece to put those in, or to purchase them and put them in. So we'll be looking to submit that also as a capital. On the senior center, we did quite a bit of work out front, replaced the front walks, installed new carpet. A replacement hood has been ordered, or is in the process of being ordered for the kitchen, as is the movable wall for the large activity room. That's been ordered also. We also replaced the heads out in this parking lot with LED heads. We'll be looking at submitting for replacement of the roll-top door for the kitchen, which has not met code, and replacement of the stainless steel counter in the kitchen also. And it's a significantly large roll-top door, so we expect that may be an expensive door. Town Hall complex, we're looking at the issues with the current generator that maintains, that's the emergency backup generator that maintains the DPW and the fuel pump system. It's a 1960 vintage generator with a manual transfer switch. Not the greatest setup. We have issues with our fuel pump station. The electrics on it are out of date and will not meet code. We can't install our new fuel system because it doesn't meet code. So we kind of hope to roll that all together in the replacement with that generator system. We'll be working with an electrical engineer to kind of come up with some sort of scope and estimated cost of what that might cost. The school buildings, on the high school side, we're looking at the mechanical design for the air conditioning in the CAF, which was funded under last year's capital for the design portion. We hope to have the estimate back from the engineer to see what cost is entailed in that actual work and see what additional funding may be needed for that. Both the high school and the middle school sewer pump stations failed DEP compliance due to some technical deficiencies. DEP has recommended some actions to take, and we're working currently with both MEA, who is one of our consultants, and CDM, who is another consultant, to review those issues. As far as potential budget shortfalls, I do see that may impact our budget. It's clearly not something that was expected. We do expect to see some overrun possibly in that sewer account. The additional shortfall I see that we potentially see may be the highway overtime. We unfortunately had to do quite a bit of highway overtime in conjunction with a lot of the road work. A lot of the road work that happens, we do a lot of prep prior to the contractors coming in, and with the increased road work that we did this year, it's pushed our overtime budget a little further than is comfortable. If we have an easy winter and spring, it's possible we will be all right, but it's hard to tell on the overtime calls. The only other thing I would be looking to probably add on the staffing side is we want to consider looking at an additional skilled facilities person, particularly possibly a facilities person with an electrical engineer, or not electrical engineer, an electrician, to come in as a facilities person that could actually cover a lot of the electrical work, which we're currently paying outside sources for, in addition to be able to have another facilities person to cover all the facilities that we deal with. That's all I got.
Great, thank you, I appreciate it. The Finance and Administrative Department, but I think I'd like to start off with the Finance Committee. Mr. Dahlstedt. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So from the perspective of the Finance Committee, this is our favorite time of year. We're looking forward to January and starting to work with you and your teams related to reviewing some of the things that you've mentioned here. From a high level, I think we expect that some of the things that the town administrator spoke about related to new growth coming back in line and stabilizing, we expected that would occur. We expect that we need to continue to focus on costs like OPEB and controlling our debt and our debt service, and certainly while at the same time making Linfield a great place to live for everybody that is here. So I'll keep it short and sweet, and we, again, we look forward to working with all of you on reviewing the budgets.
Thank you, Jack. Rudy, town clerk.
Hi. We had a couple of new changes in our office this year. Had a lot of firsts since coming to Lynnfield. We never had an assistant town clerk, I've never done an election recount, so I'm very excited about everything I've had a chance to do. We implemented, working with Unibank, some online payments for some of the services that we offer in our office. We now can do online dog registration because of a new software program that we brought in, which hopefully will see a little bit of an increase in dog registration. So those are a few of the things that we've done for this year. The elections expense budget, I expect it to increase somewhere between $6,000 to $8,000. Every budget that I've ever prepared in my job, I try to base it based on the elections that we have in that year. So elections will always fluctuate depending on the number of elections that we have. So we have the presidential coming up that will fall in the FY17 fiscal year, and I went back and looked at 2012, and Lynnfield had about an 80% turnout in 2012. So some of the things that I learned since coming here, part of the election expense will be having additional staff on hand just to make sure that we're fully covered, nobody's waiting in line. I've been constantly reorganizing my election staff since day one, and it's only getting better. And I'm really excited heading into the next election year because of what I've been able to gain from my experience and just by working with the election staff that we do have on hand. Something else we're going to see for the first time in Massachusetts for our November election is early voting. Yay! I'm not quite sure what this means because the state has not come out with regulations yet, but it will involve 11 days leading up to November early voting in my office. We could go somewhere else and do that, but I'm trying to save costs by doing it in my office, so I'm just sort of budgeting maybe 2 extra people to be on hand to help with that, because while we're doing early voting, we also have absentee voting going on. Bless you. And so all of these early voting ballots have to be processed on the election day with absentee ballots, so it's so exciting, and we just don't know what we're doing yet, but I can't wait. And also because of early voting, I've asked the state to come in and look at my office if it has to have any minor changes due to handicap accessibility. So I may need to be working with Andrew, maybe getting some new doorknobs and just a few minor changes that may have to be done to the office to accommodate early voting. Last year, I asked and was approved for $2,000 in record preservation, and I wanted to bring the book to show everybody because it's so pretty, but it's so heavy, but it's beautiful, and we were able to get one of the oldest books in Town Hall preserved, and it will last for many, many years to come. So we've got so many more books like that in our vault, and I'm hoping maybe jump up to 6,000 this year and do a couple more books because it's very time-consuming and very expensive, but once the books are done, it's going to preserve Lynnfield's history for years and years and years. And it's a great opportunity to take the time, if we can, to start working on this and be aggressive, because I don't think anything's been preserved in the last 10 to 12 years. So I was hoping to be really aggressive, but after hearing you guys talk, maybe I'll just be a little aggressive in getting those records preserved. Also, first time in my town clerk experience, I'm coming to ask for capital budgeting because I'm hoping to replace our voting machines. The current machines that we use, they were last manufactured in 2008, and they no longer make the parts for them, so getting the parts and the maintenance on them is constantly increasing. And the newer equipment is so much more reliable and secured. And I looked back at 2008, and back then it cost about $26,000 to replace 4 machines. And that's what one of the quotes that I received is about $26,000 for the 4 machines. Ideally, it would be nice to have a backup machine. If we ever get to an election and one of the machine crashes, and we resort to hand counting, which we're gonna have some long lines and more expenses in staffing, so, but I'm going with 4 machines hopefully. And because of the process that it involves, we wouldn't be able to implement it until September, because you have to get state approval, you guys have to approve it, and town meeting has to approve it, so there's a lot of steps in between. So if we did that, it would be used in September. That's it. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Well, the other departments we have is, we have Colleen, a new town accountant and assistant finance director. And she started on Monday, so I really going to give her a pass. You know, if you just want to say hello.
I do want to say hello. I'm excited to be here. Obviously, I live in parts of Lincoln right now, especially Market Street, which I absolutely love. But the one thing I do have to say is I do have some of the the department's budget sheets that I would like to hand out to everybody after everybody's finished with their discussions. And it's all pretty much reiterated in Jim's documentation on what's required, what's expected. I don't exactly know where all of your accounts in the GL yet, although I have been researching and looking, but I do know enough to help in Munis if you need help inputting any information, and I am available to assist in that regard. So that's all I have for you.
And Ray Boley, our new managing assessor. Ray, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very brief also, because I just started digging into it. I have what Dick has. It looked like we have level funded, but that's about as far as I've got.
Yeah, well, you get a pass too, it's only been a couple weeks, so you can we'll expect a much longer presentation next
See what I
year.
can do.
Anyone I missed on the finance and administrative side? Jim, you want to say anything? No?
No, it's okay.
Okay, good. Move along to the library. Nancy, our director of the library, welcome.
Good evening. The balance of this fiscal year will be one of transition for the library. I'm retiring in 2016. I moved to part-time when a new library director is hired, working 20 hours per week until April 30th, when I'll retire completely. The Board of Trustees are interviewing our 3 finalists between December 10th and early January, and hope to have a new director in place sometime in February or early March. The balance of this fiscal year will be taken up with completing the hiring process for and the orientation of a new library director, working with the building committee, the owner's project manager, the architects, William Rowan Associates, to gather ideas, or more ideas, from the different constituencies in the community about what a new library could look like. Completion of a feasibility or schematic design by the architect that will go before town meeting in 2016. Completing our in-house program of lending Chromebooks, and preparing the new director, for a comfortable and satisfactory transition for the staff, the trustees, and the community. As far as FY17 is, I'm not going to be here. But I think we're certainly well positioned for a new director coming in. We're fiscally in a very good place with a very, very well managed budget. Our building project is certainly moving ahead, and we're going to have a new director. So I leave it to her. Take it from there.
Well, thank you, Nancy. And I think I speak for everyone here. I want to thank you for the years. Great job you've done with the library, and I think everybody enjoys it. I think we should tell you how much we approve it. Next, we have our Council on Aging, Linda. Hello.
Hi. We are pretty much on target for the current year. We do continue to see great growth, and we do have longer and longer lists of wait lists for programs and trips and meals. We just had our Thanksgiving luncheon. We had about 150 people. We have about 150 signed up for the Christmas one this Friday. And we have about 100 people on the waiting list for each of those events. The 150 who did get in are 98% on the field. That's always a nice question. Yes, they're in the field. I don't anticipate any needs for the next fiscal year, thanks to the Friends. Our fundraising group really keeps us, and they're amazing. You know, as I always say, everything you walk to the center and your eye falls on is purchased by the Friends. Every table, chair, wall hanging, clock, everything. So they really do subsidize us. So I don't anticipate at this moment asking for an increase in any area, and no capital requests this year. But next year I will be asking for the indoor pool. Prepare yourself.
Fred, was that your idea?
Call it the rehab center.
That's good, I like that. That's all.
Thank you, Linda. Well, we'll go on to our regulatory boards, and that's, Kristen, I think you're up next, and
Okay.
you can give us a little overview and tell us what you're thinking for next year.
Great, thank you. So the Board of Health does have a number of topics under our umbrella, which is well permitting, septic permits for septic systems, food establishments, plan reviews and inspections there, tobacco sales, e-cigarettes was a new topic too this year, semi-public swimming pools, tanning salons, recreational camps. We also do animal inspections. We have a number of bond inspections here in Linfield, and we also do the animal quarantines for biting animals. We occasionally have housing complaints to respond to, nuisance complaints, and other environmental issues, also including beaver trapping. We do communicable disease investigations and immunizations, as you probably saw the flu clinics. We also are a mosquito control liaison, working with Northeast Mass Mosquito Control and the Department of Public Health. We look at 21E reports and other environmental issues. We sample Pillings Pond once a year. We're also part of Emergency Preparedness in Region 3B, Greater Lawrence Coalition, which is being reformed into a health and medical coordination coalition, and we are also part of the Medical Reserve Corps. There's only one person who's full-time, and that's me. We have a part-time administrative person at about 12 hours a week, a nurse at one day a week, and part-time sanitarians as needed. So current budget, I think we're pretty much on track, and I think we may even be able to do well with a similar budget for next year. One item of the capital improvements, for the last 2 years I've requested, hopefully we can actually make this happen, is a front desk station and a plan review table, which would make opening up the large engineering plans easier to review, and then a small side table. I think when I had looked at it before, the costs were around $3,500. That's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The other two, I would think, would be Concom or our building, but I don't see any members here, so I'll move along. I think next we have recreation. Julie.
Hi, Phil. I'm going
I'm
to talk.
gonna let Frank
Matt's not here. He
Okay.
has some work commitments. Just to basically summarize what we've done since July, we've added 6 new programs. Julie and Joe have added 8 new outings and events, and they have completely redesigned the tree lighting ceremony with the sound system and the new set design. So I don't know if anybody was down there last Saturday. So the other thing that started happening this year in rec was we started collecting the fees for the fields. That has generated so far about $76,500. That's been allocated about $18,500 to the DPW accounts, which we talked about. Hasn't gone over to the DPW yet because we're still waiting for that agreements. About $50,000 to the capital accounts for the replacement of the fields as needed, and $8,200 to the administrative side, which goes back into our revolving. And basically what we've been looking for, we would be looking for next year in the budget is just an increase in the salary for the recreation director, who has done a fantastic job, and I know has put a lot of time and effort into growing the services that are offered to the citizens. That's about it in a nutshell.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Anyone else I missed? No? Well, we have a schedule that I know Jack said looking forward to, and start having our meetings. So, after tonight, we have our, December 28th is departmental operating budgets are due. And I know everybody's already had that date on their schedule, so. January 4th, operating budgets to the Finance Committee. The 11th, capital budgets are due. January 25th, capital budgets go to the Finance Committee. February 1st, our school department budget is due. And the 22nd, our town administrator recommended budget with capital plan be presented to the Board of Selectmen. From the 4th until the 22nd of February is when we'll schedule our meetings with the Board of Selectmen for each department, as we have in the past. March 7th, we have our, we vote the budget for the in a public hearing. On the 18th, we have a Finance Committee budget hearing and the final budget recommendation. And that all leads up to April 25th in our town meeting. Okay, so if there's any changes to that, I'll let you know. That's what our schedule is. And I believe that finishes our agenda for the night. So, any else, Jim? No? Good. So I thank everybody for coming. Appreciate all the input. And I look forward to seeing the budget. Thank you.